Hey everyone, and welcome to REZOcast episode 47. This is Lego, and I've got with me Hove and Triton, the Manigator, and our special guest this week. We are so excited to have him here, TripleWRECK himself. Thanks so much for coming on, and just let us know a little bit about your week. How's Destiny been? You hit up that last week of Trials of Osiris.
Yeah, it's well, I guess the last year or so of Crucible has been an interesting adventure. Unfortunately, I haven't been playing as much over time. I didn't do Trials as much as I did back, like I would say, like up till around like Taken King. I was like every weekend, lots of Trials, loved it, great memories. But I think like as the meta has evolved some, like good lord, the Scories terror reign. It was more of like I would tune in and watch, streamers that are my friends and I enjoy watching, and then I would just see how miserable they were, and I'm just like, well, I'll just hang out in Rumble or something, maybe I'll run some strikes, and
Yes.
that was it. But yeah, Trials, it came to an end this past weekend, and I did play a little bit. Would have been Monday, just because I was having internet troubles. I was gonna do a little bit more that week, but the ISP was giving me and Dado a struggle there. But it was interesting. I tried to do a card with Lucky and Buttwipe with Lab, but unfortunately we got DDoSed about midway through.
Good times.
And they kind of whoever DDoSed, apparently the person that we think it was has done this before to the lab, because they recognized the name, and apparently they weren't banned, which is kind of unfortunate. But they just couldn't get a solid connection after that. Like, I think they just kept getting hit off. I don't know, for some reason I didn't, but so like we just kind of had to stop. It was really unfortunate, because we've been wanting to play for a while, and I did just pick up a couple of my other friends, and we tried to do one final run, because we had like about 45 minutes left before Trials was ending. We're like, it's going to be tight, but we went for it. And somehow we managed to go flawless, literally 20 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
After I hit the lighthouse and we were flying in, it's boom. It's 2 a.m. Pacific, and so it was really exciting. It was kind of like an Indiana Jones.
Yeah, running from the big boulder.
Yeah, right. So that was fun. That was a good memory. But yeah, I'm really excited for D2. We got the PC beta coming up here.
Yes.
And then, of course, the console release. So exciting times.
Yeah, for real. And me and Hove definitely feel you with the internet connection problems. We were trying to go the last weekend, and I was at a hotel, like I was playing with the band somewhere, and I was just like, please just let me get enough just one night, and then I thought I was the one who was going to have the problems, and then Hove's internet goes down, and it's just like, what is happening right now? Why this weekend?
Other than being DDoSed, I had like a very similar weekend. Like, Trials had been something that, I loved for a long time. Like, I loved playing it, even when the meta was crappy. Like, playing with friends, helping people, like, it was a lot of fun.
Sure.
And I hadn't played in about a month, probably since around Guardian Con, and I was like, I'm going to play the shit out of the last weekend of Trials, like, never going to get to do it again. And Friday night I got on and ran 2 cards and was like, yeah, no. Like, I can't do it. And then Saturday and Sunday I dodged. And Monday Lego got me to...
I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, to pry myself away from PUBG for a little bit. And I was like, why am I red bar? Let me do a speed test. And I had like 150 down and 0.2 up. And I was like, oh... yeah, that's why. So yeah, that didn't work out.
Like,
real well.
oh no, guess I can't play Trials.
right. I think he did it on purpose.
I did
go
it.
back to PUBG.
Confirms Hove DDoSes himself to dodge Trials.
It was a lot of fun though. I got to do some more 1v3 Voops at the end. Finally, man. I tried. What about you guys? Did y'all get to go back into Trials at all in the last weekend?
Well, what was it? Saturday or Sunday? Let's see, I dodged Friday. I think I dodged Saturday. And then Sunday, I was like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it for old time's sake. It was Wendler and Gungasaur. I was like, maybe decide, depending on... Gunga's going to rage quit eventually. Maybe we'll start doing raffles. And we went through 2 cards. Gunga dipped and Wendler we both were like, no more. This is it. And then Monday I was like, yeah, I'll come back Monday for that. Nope, didn't even do that. It's like I got stuck so many times
Well, I don't
in
blame
like
you.
that 2-hour segment that I was losing my mind.
Playing with Wendler turns me off too.
True.
Wendler burn, real quick one.
Oh, Lego, I think it's cute when you ask me if I played, especially if you played Trials or this weekend or during the week or at any point within the recent like last couple of months. But no, I think I messaged you guys that the PS4 broke, so that's like a no-go. So I have to go get
what a terrible week.
another one of those. And I guess the best part of it though was questioning my children as to how that they think the PS4 may have broke. The middle son came up with someone must have sleptwalked and come down and broke it. So I think we determined it was probably him.
That sounds legit.
We'll have to get another PS4.
That may be
here.
how I hurt my ankle in the middle of the night the other week.
It was mana.
I walked over and just started kicking it and walked all the way back here and fell asleep. Still don't know how I did that.
Well, Triple, we're super excited to have you here on the show. Thank you so much for coming out. We want to just ask you a few get to know you questions. I know it's impossible for someone in the community not to have known you at this point, but I just want to hear it from your words. Where do you feel like your place is in the Destiny community? How do you see yourself in it?
That's a difficult question because my personality is I joke around a lot. I'm pretty sarcastic. But yeah, in reality, I don't really think that highly of myself. So a lot of times people, kind of put me on a pedestal, right? And they look up to me, and it's been a learning process over the past couple of years where, I have to be a little bit more mature. I have to try to take a little bit more responsibility in the things that I say and the things that I do, and realize that, there are, 90,000 people that follow me on Twitter. So I got to be a little bit more careful with the things I say. And when I'm, streaming to a large audience, I want to put my best foot forward and try to be a good example as best I can. Plus, I'm in roles where I'm, running and managing communities, whether it's, with the IM guys for competitive stuff, or it's RECNation and my stream community and stuff like that. So it's definitely a learning process. I still make plenty of mistakes, but it's a great honor because I have so many friends now, not only other content creators, but just people in the community. All these great podcasts, for example, and it's cool to be a part of something which it's grown to be more than a game, right? And it's corny, it's cheesy. And there's bad apples here and there as well, like any community, but it is something special, and I'm grateful to be here, and hopefully we just see it grow and flourish more. As I think, not to sound cynical, but I think the worst is behind us. I think inevitably when you have a brand new game, something very ambitious like Destiny. Yeah. And it did a lot of things right, and I always want to give credit because I feel like it was I always say this, it was greater than the sum of its parts. You can criticize a lot of aspects of Destiny, but I think it still came together to be an experience that I just didn't have in other games. And even still, 3 years after it came out, there's not a lot of other games that I go play, and it really scratches that itch. So something I always come back to, and I just think that has been really a driving factor behind how strong the community is, and how I think that has been kind of the saving grace of the game in a lot of ways.
Yeah, for sure. And I love what you said about how you realized, you had all these people looking up to you and following you and looking at what you were saying within the community. And I remember specifically, it was months ago, I feel like, but you put out a tweet that was I really want to be a positive voice in the community and be aware of that online and everything that I say. And I feel like I've noticed that with the way that you present yourself online, even whenever a new update comes out or something controversial, I always feel like I can come to your Twitter, for an opinion that is, well balanced and but yet with positive, hey, I love this game, and so this is the critique, And
Certainly
that's always
try.
so cool to hear.
It's a delicate balance, and in the span of 10 minutes, I'll be called a Bungie shill. I'll be called someone who's just overly negative, and is there anything like you like about it? It's like, okay. It's like you're not even reading the things. Like I'll tweet like one thing that's one side of the story, and then the next tweet will be something that's kind of a little bit on the other side. And I try to be as objective as I can. I believe in calling balls and strikes. In the past, I think I did focus more on the things that I didn't like, because I feel that that's what matters, right? Like that feedback is what's ultimately important, because if you're telling people what you don't like, that's how you get things fixed. It's great to say, oh, hey, I love this, and make you feel warm and fuzzy inside, but how is that really helping something get better? So
yeah,
I realize how you can come across as being someone that just complains a lot, and the truth is that's not who I am, and so I understand that it is good to try to be, especially as constructive as you can with your criticism. So
Well,
go ahead.
I was just say I think it's natural too to, for instance, if you go to McDonald's or something and you order a Big Mac and it comes out the way you expected it and you liked it, like you don't run around and tell it like, oh yeah, guess what? I got this Big Mac and it was what it was supposed to be, and I liked it.
I gave you money and you gave me something that I wanted, and all right, we're good.
Yeah, but if something comes out wrong, hey, you did this or whatever, like I think that's just kind of the natural progression. You're going to let people know concerns or unhappiness that you may have, even if it is from a positive place, positive criticism, wanting to get better. It's just the way things work, and you're right.
There will be those people that nitpick every single word and try to find the negatives. It really is kind of harsh here and there to voice your opinion, and then someone comes in and tries to flame you. You're like, but that's not what I tried to say,
Of course.
And then they bring in the words, and then they kind of mix it up and make you look like the bad guy. You're like, but what? He's like, why?
I think it can be easy to be one of the two extremes, like be someone who is like fixated on things that are wrong or things that you perceive to be wrong, and then on the other side, it's people that kind of go out of their way to be like, oh well, I have to be only positive, I can't be critical of anything because it's like my job to offset any negativity. Like I don't even know if those people are like truly that way, but it's just like I have to be this bastion of hope, and like there's nothing wrong with being positive. I think there's nothing wrong with being negative if it's it's within context and you're using rational thought and logic. But like you said, I think it's important to be analytical of yourself and seek other people's opinions and say, hey, like, am I totally off base here? Like, give me some perspective. You rely on people that you trust and you care about to make sure that you're doing the best job that you can.
Yeah, well, that's really cool.
Triple, it seems like you have like you feel the weight of the responsibility of being someone who can influence a community, can influence Bungie or other games that you play and other developers. So as somebody who has that responsibility on your shoulders, does it outweigh the fact that at the same time you can't just be maybe just like a regular consumer who can just go off on a tirade about how they feel? I mean, has it ever detracting from not necessarily the enjoyment of the game, but just the fact that everything that you do and you react to has to be filtered through that?
I think, and it's not just in my case, of course, it's like in anything, when you're in the public eye, like you're under scrutiny, and you have to be mindful of that, right? Mm-hmm. Some days privately, or I think it, and I'm just like, I'm super toxic, like I'm just I'm consumed, like why is this way, like fix this, or why can't it be like this, or I can't believe what this person told me, or like everyone's like that. But you have to be a little bit more restrained, at least when, again, you have a lot of people that are looking to you, and you can influence them in good ways and bad. Like sometimes you can say something that's fairly innocuous, but people can take it the wrong way. People can use innocent things you say as ammunition to be toxic in their own ways. Like, for example, I made that video about the ghost bullets, right? It was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go back and watch the video, it's pretty tame. It's pretty mild. It's like, hey, this is my test, and this is the results, and I don't like this for this reason, and I hope it's fixed. And thanks for watching. That's basically it.
Pretty much, yeah.
But people will then like quote that video and tweet at Bungie like, your game is the worst thing ever, like your game is cancer, and all this stuff. And it's like, nah, I'm not. Please stop, using my video like that. That's not what I'm trying to say. And I think any rational person obviously sees that is, completely disconnected, and that's not the message that I'm trying to give. But it's anything like that can always be taken to the extreme by people, and so you have to be careful. If you go back to the beta, of course, that we just had for D2, I played like a lot the first day, and I tweeted out just a few things, but it was really positive stuff. It's like, this is such a refreshing experience because, there's no ability spam, and there's focus on primary gunfights, and I'm just, I'm really digging getting to play this. And then people are like, oh, but I don't like this and this, and why are you defending this game? It's so bad. And I'm just like, okay, calm down. And then I played some more that week, and then yes, I did have critiques. I said, okay, I don't like this. Maybe there's some possible solutions along these lines. And, in that respect, and if you go all the way back to, I guess, early last year, and, we had the whole, I guess, skill-based matchmaking discussion was at its peak. And it certainly didn't help that, we had asked them about that, and then they said that it wasn't skill-based matchmaking, and then it turned out it was, and that certainly burned the community to some extent. And that fueled a lot of that frustration. And I'll readily admit that I went overboard. Like, I think I was like tweeting every single day about skill-based matchmaking and like putting hashtags and stuff. And I was really mad. I was so mad to the point that I made a video kind of trying to articulate my frustrations and said, I feel like I'm going to take a break for a while, just because you shouldn't be playing something that you don't really get any fun out of, especially a video game. It's supposed to be, your pastime. It's supposed to be leisure. So I did that. I took a long break, and it was really good for me. And then when I did come back, tried to examine kind of my attitude and the way I was looking at things. And of course, it does help tremendously that Bungie they've reached out to me, especially, for all the Destiny 2 stuff. I've gotten more opportunities to talk to devs face to face, in private, and it really opens your eyes to a lot of things. It gives you a lot of understanding, and it definitely. I mean, it's not going to change my opinion on, hey, why did you nerf Blink 87 times? But on other things, it can give me, oh, hey, the reason we couldn't do this is because there was a bug, and we tried to do it and it broke the whole game. It's like, oh, okay, well, I wish you had told us that, but at least now I'm not going to be crusading against you about that topic. So I think that's something that Bungie can do a little bit better, and they're definitely doing that better. Is communicating, whether it's just people on the Crucible team coming out there, or it's Deej, in Cosmo on Reddit and all that stuff. I think it's great, and the more of that, the better, because that transparency really it instills trust, and it allows the community to, even if they don't like something, understand the intentions of the developer and their thought process and their goals. And so, because sometimes if you don't have any of that context, it's easy to jump to conclusions. It's easy to get outraged without having all that info.
Yeah. What's really cool about a lot of those critiques you were talking about that you've made over time is seeing a lot of those come to fruition. Like even now, like even the TWAB last week talking about them breaking down matchmaking in those two different ways, or the way that they did somewhat address ghost bullets, with the hand cannons in their initial shot within D1, those kind of things, like, hey, they're listening and stuff like that. So it's cool to see like the feedback that you've given in any form, like them listening to the community and stuff like that. What you were saying earlier too about like listening to Bungie and being able to talk with the devs and stuff. It's cool even within our clan, even within Resolute, to see the few people who do different things within Bungie. Not like to hear them. They don't like tell us anything that's like, oh, we
Ever.
shouldn't know this or anything like that.
Wish they did.
But just being able to hear their attitude towards the game and how much they care about what we think and stuff like that, that is just like so encouraging for us all the time. And I was curious about, speaking of clans, like your clan, you mentioned having I Am and RECNation, your two communities there. How did those two things get started for you? And even I'd love to hear just like an explanation of I Am, like what the community's like there, because I feel like a lot of people who maybe listen to this podcast or are involved with Destiny to some extent don't know about the competitive side of Destiny as much, and I'd love to hear just your thoughts on the two communities that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So I Am originally started not in Destiny. It was actually before Destiny, predates Destiny. One of my friends that I used to play Uncharted 2 with. Uncharted 2,
my favorite series of all time.
Yeah. So Uncharted 2 had actually, all the Uncharted since Uncharted 2 have a great multiplayer component, like very robust, doesn't get the recognition and love it deserves. But Uncharted 2 multiplayer came out, and I got involved with playing competitive matches on game battles. And I joined I made friends with this guy named Like Butta, and I joined his team, and we went undefeated, and we started a friendship from that. And then we had played some other games as well, and then coming into Destiny, we said, all right, we're gonna this will be our clan, and we'll look for top talent, and we'll try to be the best, and go after whatever competitive options there are. Unfortunately, we didn't get private matches for a long time, and we didn't really get that competitive experience that we were hoping for. But all things considered, I think the community went above and beyond, matching, for hours with Search Eval to do tournaments, and still like thousands and thousands of people watching them and enjoying them. I think that is one of the biggest reasons that I think Destiny 2 is going in a slightly more competitive direction, or at least more open to that, because they've seen this demand, they've seen this, this passion and this fire for that.
Yeah.
So, over time, picked up a lot of different players. Rosters changed a lot, especially because people have become inactive, and life happens, and some people are all kinds of busy. But we hope to see some familiar faces return for Destiny 2, and I'm sure that we'll bring a lot of new players and stuff. And RECNation, on the other side, was just that just seemed like the natural thing for me to do. Is my stream was taking off, and a lot of people wanted to get in games with me, or they wanted to have that sub community around my stream. Of course, it's like, all right, well, we'll do a Bungie clan. Unfortunately, you can only have like 100 members per Bungie clan.
Right.
I wish there was a way for them to change that. So we made 7, 8, 9, 10 different ones, and then they'll have a different number at the end. But big community. Discord came along, and that was a great place to have a hub where, especially just because I could make it subscribers only, not as a paywall or anything, just because it was so hard to manage everything. Yeah. And I've been in some other streamers' Discords that are open to the public, and it's a little nuts. I don't know how they do it. Hats off to them. For now, we're just keeping it like a sub clan. But it's been with that being a slightly smaller community. Of course, not every one of my community is in our Discord or anything, but it's a lot of them. And it's a way to get to know them a little bit more, and to hang out. And I guess you can use it as an LFG to some extent, or we have a channel where we're just talking about PC stuff now. But I think that was just a natural thing for me to have more of the community stuff over here, and then have our competitive stuff separated, just because before like we had really committed to IM, like people thought RECNation was like my competitive clan. And
Yeah.
people to this day still get hate mail thinking that these were, hey, I'm just chilling, but no, they thought that these were like pro players, and they were getting...
We know what that's like, don't we, guys?
Trust me, I've seen the tweets. It's a never-ending source of
You beat
hilarity.
anyone in Resolute, you're in, apparently.
Apparently.
But he's the leader. If you 1v1 us, you also get in.
Right? It's good times. But you had asked, what's like, I guess the vibe or the culture.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess for IM at least, pretty much all of us are like really good friends. Some of them dating back, to like 2015. So some members there are veteran, in the clan, and then we have a bunch of new players as well. But I think we have a pretty strong bond. There's a lot of trash talk. Everyone, like, I feel like the more you trash talk in our clan, like the more you're endeared.
Yeah, the more love you're giving.
It's that brotherly love, absolutely. But I think that it was also a really special thing because of GuardianCon, of course. We had our team there playing, and they won the whole thing. It was great, and I got to meet a lot of those guys for the first time. And so we had a big team dinner, went out, had some steaks and stuff, and that's like it's like a cool bonding experience, right? Yeah. And I think it like solidifies your kind of maybe your familial aspect to it all. It's like, all right, this is our clan. This is us. So that was really special. With the whole competitive community, I think with any game, it's like some people find it abrasive because the people that are usually the most competitive are, they can be perceived as toxic. And don't get me wrong, some of them are, and there's no excusing it and there's no justifying it. But a lot of times they want to win so bad, and a lot of times they get angry and they'll, for example, they'll say things that aren't rated T for teen, but it's more of just like a frustration with themselves because they're holding themselves to a high standard. They want to perform for their teammates. They want to represent their clan to the best that they can, and there's always like Twitter drama or things that people are posting and things, but a lot of times it's extremely superficial. And I've seen so many of these guys like go at it like they were going to kill each other, from different clans or whatever, but then 5 minutes later they're laughing and making jokes again because at the end of the day they're still friends. I think it's just really surprising to me because I come from other gaming communities, and sometimes I'll go to other directories and stuff, and I'll just realize how good we have it in comparison. It's like, if you think this is bad, like go to League of Legends or go to Call of Duty or something. And it's like, it's really quite tame. And I think that is, it is a testament to the community, even the competitive side by extension. And hopefully, they're setting as good of an example as they can because the community is about to grow a lot. There's going to be so many new people. There's going to be such a big influx, especially, PC being added. I really hope that it doesn't go downhill. It's always the worry because, you're bringing in so many people and there's so many variables and such, but I hope it stays relatively the same.
Yeah, that's awesome. Before we switch to community questions, and I'm sure these guys are going to throw in a few more questions as well, I did want to swap to Destiny real quick and ask you just like a general, like for D2, what is like something that you're super excited about for D2?
I think I could go into so many details
I know,
at this
right?
point. And the irony is that we don't actually know that much about the game, which I'm very happy about because I feel like we got a little too much info with Destiny 1. The beta and the alpha was like,
we actually talked about that last week. How
like a third of the game.
This time around they're kind of keeping it a little toned down now, keeping us wondering about what's going to come.
I want all those surprises. I want all those secrets. And I want to just spend time exploring and discovering all all the work that they put in for these last few years, I'm most excited that it is a full-fledged sequel, that it's not an expansion, that it's not just a continuation of what we've had. And I know that initially some people weren't happy about that, but I think what you gain with that approach is just greatly outweighs the fact that, you can't keep your armor set, or, I have to like make my guardian look different or whatever. I think by taking this path that they're going to have, they have had so much more freedom to just throw everything out, start from scratch, and try to make it the next evolution rather than just an iteration, right?
Yeah.
So PvP, obviously, I would, even if like nothing had changed from the console beta, if it was like that was the game that we played for the next 3 years, I would be fine, because I much prefer that to year 3 Destiny 1. So I think like the core game is great and it can only get better. I really hope to see things like a ranked mode added. But surprisingly, I'm really excited for the PvE.
Yeah, right?
I mean, of course, it's going to be, what is a raid 5, and I would pay $60 just for one raid. I just love the raids. It's such a unique experience, not just within Destiny, but I think just in terms of gaming as a whole. Like there's like games like WoW, of course. There's other games with raids, but there's nothing really that is as action focused as what Destiny has. I think that's pretty unique, and I definitely treasure like my memories going back of first time I did Vault of Glass, first time, we did, well, I was going to say, I was going to say King's Fall, but that day was not a good day because I had stayed up. I had done a long stream, then I had stayed up because it was like the whole engram farming with the 3 of coins. And I'm like, well, I better, try to get some exotics because it's going to help my team. But, by the time we started the raid, I was already ready to, go to bed. I was like passing out, and like I was just a zombie. It was a detriment to my team. Still a great memory, but definitely learned my lesson at that time. So hopefully 3 of coins are not a thing anymore, by the way.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Man.
Please.
So many people abuse that, and then they complain that there is no content after that since they got everything so soon. It's like, what'd you expect?
Like, I want that grind. I feel like Destiny hasn't had enough grind. And it's not that it has to be like this incredibly arduous, frustrating, slow thing, but it has to just be something that you feel rewarded by. Like, it's not fun to play for months and months and months not getting a good Eyes Luna, because that's not, you're not even grinding for something. You're just literally.
Does that happen to someone you know?
Yeah, one or two. Not me, of course. No, I'm great RNG.
Well, you're a streamer. You get whatever you want, right?
Yeah, of course.
Streamer perks, dude.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Like that's not like progression, really, right? That's just literally playing an activity and just hoping the dice rolls in your favor. And then once you get it, you're done. Like there's nothing that continues that. It's just I'm waiting to get that item and then I'm done. So I'm excited at the prospect of them having a deeper experience, having expanded endgame stuff, and surprisingly, the patrol looks fantastic. Now, I'll say that Taken King was a big step up, and then Rise of Iron continued that. I think the patrol, I spent more time in patrol, the first 2 weeks of those DLCs than I think I did anything else. And I loved it because it's just like running around, getting these materials. I got these quest lines, and we're finding secrets and stuff. And I think they're taking that to the next level with D2, and I could be more excited for that.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about it. It's amazing how many PvP guys we've had on here that are like really excited for the PvE in D2.
One of them's a host now.
That's true.
People are surprised whenever I tell them I'm super pumped to jump back into PvE because it's been a quick minute since I've enjoyed it. And year 1, I was all about it. I was all about the grind. Like
I started as a PvE person.
It was crazy. So,
well, Triple, before we go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, I just wanted to fully give credit to Bungie because they have definitely taken PvE from a rough place
Mhm.
back when it launched, and it's gotten steadily better all the way up until Age of Triumph. And I think despite my reservations about PvP with Destiny 1 over time, like they put a lot of work into making that a better experience, and I think that's what instills like my faith and excitement into Destiny 2. It's like, all right, well, look how far Destiny 1 came, and now they're taking their best people to just continue that with Destiny 2. So yeah,
100%.
And I think, sorry, Triton, I know you have a question, but I just want to say that that's important, and I think goes back to what you were saying about it being, you're happy it's a full new game as opposed to just like an expansion or something, because I think that's not only good for us as players, but I think it's an opportunity for them as devs, that they've learned so much to kind of break ties and say, we learned all of this, now we're presenting you with like this new game, this new thing, as opposed
yeah,
to
absolutely,
just
because you have your hands tied if you're just releasing add-ons basically.
Mm-hmm.
And like we clearly know that the game had code level issues with things breaking all the time and whatnot, and we can blame last gen for that, or the fact that they were just trying to get this out and put it on 4 different platforms and try to make it an even experience. So I think like having that opportunity again to hit the reset button, it's like, let's look at major things that we can do to improve the experience in every way and really take that forward. Basically, my whole thing that I've been telling people, and some get really mad, like I'm like a Bungie apologist or the Bungie Defense Force leader, but the truth is, like, it's easy to criticize someone like when they take their first effort at something, and that's natural, right? It's like you're trying something for the first time, and it's the second effort, it's that sophomore attempt, I think, that really bears the scrutiny, because then that tells people what you learned. And what lessons did you learn, like which things are you going to expand upon and improve upon going forward. So it's like, I'm just telling people, just wait till the game comes out and let's just see what it's like when we get the full $60 game that we paid for, the latest version. We know it's not like some 2-month-old build or whatever. Like, this is their latest iteration of the game, and let's judge it based on that, because I think it's at that point it can be like, all right, that we can be critical of it then, but things up till then, I want to just wait and see. I want to give the benefit of the doubt, and granted, I totally understand people feeling burned and upset and betrayed for whatever reason they feel, and it's like, yeah, the onus is on Bungie to earn your trust back, to make a game that is worth your money and your time.
Totally.
No, I completely agree with that. I just, before we got into the community questions, Lego opened the show talking about, how, if you were in a part of this community, you definitely know who you are. And we've already talked about, you as a content creator, you as a streamer, talking with devs, managing your own community as well as being a competitor. So, I mean, you really pretty much touch, all facets of the community. If there was an area that you could spend more time in, what would it be and why?
I wish that I could do, and it's going to be kind of funny and ironic. Like, I wish I could spend more time doing some YouTube stuff, because my background actually was just basically doing kind of like Dado style stuff for other games. And I really like being able to break things down. I'm not going to claim to be like the smartest or the most deep on that level, but I do like talking about topics. I do like examining things or reviewing things inside. It's like that part of my brain really, gravitates toward a YouTube format where, streaming is just, it's more relaxed, and it's something that I do just to enjoy purely, because otherwise I would just be gaming by myself. But here I can just game with, my friends basically. So it's two different types of experiences. Unfortunately, you only have so much time, and if I have to pick between one, obviously I'm going to stick with streaming.
Especially where YouTube's at right now too.
Right, it's really rough. I was just talking, to some people, and then like Sergey's been tweeting about, and some of the other YouTubers, that it's just the ad revenue system is just in chaos right now.
Yeah, it's a rough place, definitely.
that's rough. I mean, even without that, even with everything working fine, your income fluctuates based on the CPM, which is it's not fixed. It's not like Twitch where I know exactly how much of each sub I'm getting every month, or and then tips can be a bonus on that. Like it's not something that I envy, especially people that are maybe struggling to make ends meet every month, and then if suddenly a wrench gets thrown into that, and like your life situation is suddenly a lot more difficult. So I definitely have compassion for them. Again, it's more of like something I would like to do on the side, because I really enjoy YouTube, and there's so many great Destiny YouTubers that kind of inspire me, and it's like, man, I wish I could contribute to this kind of side of the community as well.
I definitely appreciate how logical and like well thought out the YouTube videos you have done are over Destiny too. Like when you did it, the Ghost Bullets one and some of the other ones too. It was like the way that you said everything. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Like the way that you lay it out was so easy to understand. So definitely like wish I could. I get what you mean when you're like you see that and you like want to lay it out that way. You have like that desire because it comes through whenever you watch those videos. So.
Well, it's because like live is rough, and I don't think of myself as a good speaker. And when I'm on the spot, I definitely struggle, in my opinion. Granted, I feel like I've made a lot of progress over the years. Like if we're to go back to like my first stream ever, oh my god, I can't even imagine. Hopefully it's all deleted and scrubbed from the internet. It's just like the most awkward person ever. But I think everyone's like that, right? You're your own worst critic, and you look at something even from a week ago and you're like, this is trash. It's like I could have done that so much better today.
You cringe at yourself, and then you're afraid to go on to the next video, and you're like, I gotta dodge what I did last week.
Why do I even continue? Just give it up.
That's how I quit YouTube.
I'm generally Triton's worst critic.
Yeah. So I definitely I think that it's good just for anyone to try to be as involved as you can be with all aspects of whatever you're interested in life, because it's easy to live in a bubble, and I think that can definitely hurt you.
Well, I would love to talk about economies of scale since you mentioned fixed income, but I'm gonna let Lego get a community question. So,
is that where we want to go next?
Well, I think that's where Lego is leading us to. He's actually frozen on my screen.
Lego's frozen.
Oh no!
Rip Lego. All right.
All right, Ho, with the community question.
Yeah, we're gonna move over to some Twitter and Discord and chat questions. So if you guys have anything, throw it in chat. I'll try to get what I can. But first one, I believe he's here. Rezo DJ. He wants to know, Triple, your favorite Rezo member named DJ, and also your reaction to. I'm sure you've seen the picture of DJ in the background of you guys creeping. It's now an emote. He'd like to know your personal reaction to that.
Yeah. I mean, I was going through my Twitter feed, at GuardianCon, and I stumbled upon this feed of that meme, and it was fantastic. I don't know if he was intentionally did he know what was happening right there? Was it just a perfect moment in time, or was this a concerted effort on his part? Was this planned out?
I'm pretty sure it was planned out. Knowing DJ, I never actually asked him, but it's too perfect. Knowing him, I'm pretty sure he did it on purpose.
That's became a meme immediately.
Man of many talents, for sure.
All right, we got one from chat. Drewski says, personally, I think the lack of objective game modes, Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, and such, really takes away from Destiny 2's potential. Would love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so we have Supremacy, Clash, Control, Survival, and Countdown. And I would make I totally get this argument, and it's one that I've made myself, that I think Clash and Supremacy are kind of I think they're too similar to really warrant both being in the game. Personally, I know they're different, but initially I was more excited, back when we first found out about Supremacy being added with Rise of Iron. I was like, oh, this is great. I like Kill Confirmed and Call of Duty and stuff, but the issue I have is that it's not particularly an interesting experience, and it's certainly not as much as I thought, because in a game like Call of Duty, it can be very slow at times. People can just be camping and whatever. So throwing in this element of where you have to go confirm your kill by picking up this item, kind of promotes movement, and it makes the game a little bit faster. And I think that really does something different for Call of Duty, whereas in Destiny, the game is already fast. The time to kill is fairly slow by some standards. So you're not dying in one shot constantly. And especially with Destiny 2, like drastically moving away from all these, one shot abilities and mechanics. So it's like all that does to me is just punish anyone who's like trying to snipe or anyone who's playing the long range game. It's like it only just caters to one play style. So it's just a playlist for a certain type of player. It's not really for everyone. And I think it's just like Clash I think hits everything on that front. So I think it's a little bit more well-rounded. Control is definitely an objective mode, even though you can theoretically win like without caps and whatever, but it is so stacked in the favor of the team that plays the objective that like I feel like it's pretty much a straight objective mode. Countdown is very much an objective mode. I definitely, though I haven't played survival, and I think that's going to be like a fun mode. That'll probably be the trials mode is my guess.
Yeah.
I think the countdown will be.
You think that will be?
I want countdown to be the mode, but I feel
I was thinking that maybe countdown might be.
I think survival is just kind of more accessible. So maybe they would alternate it, or one weekend it'd
that'd be nice,
and the other week it'd be survival. It'd be kind of.
I'd say there's a question for you for Trials of Osiris. You would feel that I hope that they might be switching things around than they did in D1. You know how Trials, it got really stale, and playing on one map the whole weekend it kind of killed maps for me in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I think if the Trials weekend was a little bit shorter, like it was actually just like 2 days,
it's like Saturday, Sunday,
like one map would be fine. Otherwise, I feel like one map over 4 days is kind of stale.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a big deal to me either way. I think it is what it is. I wouldn't mind having like maybe 2 maps.
Maybe it's a big deal for me more than others, just because I lived in Trials for the longest time. So I guess.
Yeah, I hear you.
I never had the like casual sense of just jumping in it, for a couple hours here and there with my friends or something.
I thought you said casual sex for a second. I was
Same.
like, where are we going with this?
Also, yes.
I never just had casual sex. All right. Wrong podcast.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. I'm sure Bungie will listen to feedback and try to keep it as fresh as possible. I do think the countdown, it would be my preferred mode, just because it is a true objective mode, and it's something that we're familiar with as search and destroy in COD.
So you like countdown?
I do. I think it's definitely not solo queue friendly, but then again, Trials is not a solo queue playlist, so I feel like it fits more with that. But I think survival will be fun as well. It reminds me of Gears of War 3. Their TDM was basically like you had 20 lives, and once those ran out, it was elimination. So I've seen this mode in the past. I think it'll be good. But back to the original point, I think that yes, there is a lack of true objective modes. I would be fine if they like swapped out Supremacy and threw in like a hard point King of the Hill type mode. I would love that, or a 2 flag capture the flag. Like those two, I think would add a lot to the game, and I'm sure that they will. We had modes added with Destiny 1. We're definitely getting more modes added with Destiny 2. Like the first DLC's in December, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that. So one thing we don't know for sure, but was heavily implied to me, is that we're going to have fewer playlists in Destiny 2. And so basically, I mean, I know we have
at least at launch, right?
Right. We have like the competitive side, and then we have like the quick play side. But I think even within that, there might just be very few players, or maybe it'd just be like it's just one, and you just play a mix of us. I have no idea, but I think the bottom line is going to be less playlist saturation than we had with Destiny 1, even after they downsized it. Like we had so many playlists back like in year 1 and year 2, and like they definitely realized that was spreading the player pool out too much. So I think that we're going to have a much bigger active population with Destiny 2 just overall, and we're going to have fewer playlists. So theoretically that should make for a much better experience, like not running into the same people every single game, and getting good connections, and also good skill when it's appropriate. So I'm very excited for that.
I think their timing was kind of bad too. They started adding playlists like as they were losing players, and that just stretched it out worse.
Well, and then was that whole thing because they had to add like classic because certain people didn't have content and whatnot. So it was. I mean, I think it was just like growing pains, and then they had to learn that.
Absolutely. All right, we got one from Discord from Cowmine. For Triple, what's your biggest fear in regards to Destiny 2, both personal and for the game in general?
Sorry, I was reading chat.
It happens. I don't pay attention to half the things.
Well, the chat got a little crazy after the casual sex thing. So.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't my fault. That was all Hove. All right.
I'm used to that.
All right. What were you
Casual sex?
Yeah. What?
Well, yeah, that too. But anyway, next topic. Question was, what's your biggest fear in regards to Destiny 2, both for you and for the game in general?
Biggest fear.
Snakes.
Clowns. My biggest fear would be them not coming out with some type of competitive experience. And the reason I say that is I'll draw an example to Overwatch, which didn't launch with a ranked mode, but everyone knew that a ranked mode was coming soon after launch. So everyone went in with that expectation of, okay, let's learn the game, let's figure out how it plays and be the best that we can, and then we're just preparing for the ranked experience. And I sincerely hope that Bungie comes out before launch or at launch or around there and says, okay, here's our roadmap. Like this is what our plans are. This is when you can expect like these types of features to be added. It doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be in detail at all. Just to be like, okay, we hear this part of the community and we're adding stuff, and it's gonna happen. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, but we have to have some kind of idea. If it's just this limbo thing of like, oh yeah, we might do that at some point, or that's an interesting idea, or it's like there's no urgency there. And I feel like a large portion of the population are going to either not get the game at all or quit it pretty quickly when so many other games do offer that type of experience. I mean, I could go on and on about why I think a ranked mode is like so important for Destiny 2, but I think it all comes down to the fact that Destiny it's a MMORPG FPS hybrid game, right? It's like so many different combinations of games, but at its core, it is a game that is made around like investment of I'm putting time in and I'm becoming more powerful and I'm getting stronger and I'm earning this gear and all this stuff. But we've never really had anything like that for Crucible aside from Trials. And that's why Trials is considered to be like the competitive experience, because it's the only mode where winning actually matters.
Yeah.
And that's why it also brings out some of the worst aspects of the Destiny 1 meta. And that's why it's great that it looks like the whole direction of Destiny 2 is going to be very balanced and very forward-thinking, much more like Halo in retrospect. So I think they built a great platform, but now they need to support it with something where people can really put in time and get something out of it, not just, it's nice just to play a game and win and lose and, get that, basic raw experience out of it. But let's face it, how many games, especially AAA titles coming out today, have a ranked mode, have a league mode, have some kind of like, I mean, I've heard like the new Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor has a ranked mode. I don't even know how that's going to work. But the fact that,
it does.
yeah, look it up. So
I have to.
it's like I could totally excuse it not being in Destiny 1 because I think it would have been a mistake to put in Destiny 1 given just the way the game was. Like it wasn't meant to be competitive. And if there was that mode, it would have just been like really frustrating and annoying. And I think that would have hurt Bungie. So my guess is that they are working on something. Would be kind of mind blowing if they weren't at this point working on some kind of solution for that. And my guess is that they realize how important it is to get it right. Because if you come out with a crappy mode, a crappy system, whatever, it doesn't work, it's balanced poorly, it doesn't have enough features, then that's it. Like you've totally burned that probably for the entire rest of the series. Like first impressions are so important. How many people like will talk about Destiny because all they remember was like people giving it bad reviews when it first came out. They don't know anything about everything that came after, and then realize it's like pretty much a different game because they have all they remember was the 7 out of 10s and Angry Joe ripping it on YouTube and all this stuff, and all the memes that came out of it, which is totally understandable, but like it's still like really important for the public. So I think they're going to do it, and I think that they're going to do a good job because they know they have to. It's kind of the same thing, draw a parallel to the PC version of the game. PC gamers are some of the most passionate, we'll use that word, very passionate, and they care a lot about their games, and they have a very high standard. So if your game doesn't meet that, then it is like, look at Call of Duty on PC. Look at how much smaller it is compared to the console side. It's not because the PC version is inferior, at least not now, but their early PC releases were pretty bad in comparison. They were bad ports, and that just, the community basically said, all right, we're done with this forever. Like you had your chance and you blew it, and so you're dead. So Bungie, I think, rightly has recognized that, and they're like, oh, we have to make the PC version of this game a true version, not just like a quick port. It's got to have all the features they expect. It's got to be secure, and it's got to have all that love and attention. So getting to talk to some of those guys working on the PC version and to play it and to be like, wow, this is like, it's almost like a different game, because in a lot of ways it is. That's really encouraging to me, that they're going to take something like that seriously, then they're going to carry that over to other aspects of the game.
Yeah. Two things with that real quick. One was whenever you were talking about like Bungie not implementing it too quick, that reminded me last week we had Boomslang on, and he was, one of the #1 podcasts in the division. And he was just talking about how that game did the opposite, where they implemented everything really quick. And that was so interesting for me to listen back to, about how like it made him appreciate like this, sometimes how Bungie does take its time to get it perfectly right, like you said, just so that the game runs so much smoother. And the second thing was with the competitive and casual playlists, about how you were talking about like, man, it would be the whole rank side of it. I was just thinking about it since they announced the 2 different ways of the matchmaking this last week, and how like, what is the incentive to go and do the competitive if you don't just like those modes? Like, what's the incentive to ever go to that type of matchmaking, if rather than the quick play? Like there
right.
would, if there's no rank.
I totally understand. I share that opinion. Basically, I had an opportunity to talk to some of the devs recently, and I said, one of the issues that I see from the community, and I understand it, is like the game is kind of coming out in the middle. And what I mean by that is it doesn't really have a true kind of kickback, relaxed, casual side, and it also doesn't have the competitive experience that people are probably looking for. It's not really getting those sides fully, and I want to say that it's just a matter of they're going to expand to include that to their fullest capacity later. But I totally understand why people are like, well, I don't like 4v4. I like 6v6. I like Mayhem. I like all this stuff. And it's like, I hear you, man. I like that stuff too. And then it's also like, where's the ranked mode? Like, where's all my fancy gear that I can get? Where are the seasons? Where are the leagues and all this? Where's the esports stuff? And I'm like, all right, I hear you, because I want that stuff too. Again, I think it's important that they come out and talk about what their plans are. in whatever capacity that they can to reassure those people that that they're not being forgotten, because everyone wants to love Destiny 2, just like everyone wanted to love Destiny 1, and if they didn't, it wasn't because they're spiteful, hateful people. It's just like, it's hard to reconcile things like, I was a Blade main, and then you nerfed Blink 8 times, and then you nerfed my favorite gun, the last word, 10 times, and then it's like, what did I do? I'm sorry. I just want to enjoy the way that I wanted to play. So I get that. But I think that going back to the other thing you said, it's that, they understand they have to get, things right. And sometimes that's not always fun to wait, but I would much rather wait longer and have a good experience than have something that's rushed out and that's clearly, not up to par. And I think that's also illustrated by the fact that the PC version is coming out after the console version, because they want to make sure that they get it right. And I know for a fact it was not because that Sony paid Activision or something, these ridiculous conspiracy theories. No,
Right.
it's like they needed that little extra time to make sure the PC version, launched well. So I'm frustrated, but I totally appreciate that, and things will work out.
Nice, yeah.
All right, for a quick, easy, well, maybe not easy answer, but just a quick answer. Pure Immort on Twitter asks if Destiny 2 goes comp, which I think, Triple, you kind of have the opinion that it will eventually, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it will happen on PC or console? I guess they're talking like esports wise.
Right. Yeah. No, that's another question I see all the
huge
time.
Question that I hear all the time too.
Yeah. It's like it's one of the top 5. I think that look no further to the fact that Lars Bakken, who's one of the Crucible leads, was talking about how open they are to esports. He didn't say like, hey, we're supporting esports from day one, but he's like, we understand how passionate and how hungry that side of the community is, and they are 100% down to support that. And now that to me, not a lot of people like really were commenting on that, but that seemed to be like a major statement that we've never seen in the past. And I think that is indicative of what we're going to see going forward. But I'm not going to be able to. It's all speculation, but
right.
I want to say that because the PC version is running at a higher frame rate, and there's going to be a huge influx of competitive and content creator types coming from the PC community over. I think that it's more likely that we'll see like an Overwatch situation where PC becomes kind of the lead platform. Yeah, they're not going to get that little bit of content that Sony will have, but I think that's where like sponsors are going to feel more comfortable. I think that's where everything is moving. But at the same time, it could be like a Call of Duty scenario. It could be like Call of Duty is it's on console, and that is what it is. I wouldn't hope that one platform just monopolizes it. I would like it to be available to all the platforms, and then everyone is just as big as the communities can handle it. They're out there competing. So I would like it to not just be on one platform, but I feel like the PC has an edge.
Yeah, that quote, you said you didn't see too many people commenting on it, and I really didn't either, but it was something that I thought was about as close. We talk about how secretive Bungie is and how they don't tell us anything. Mm-hmm. That seemed to be about as close as they were ever going to get to saying, hey, we might try this down the road. Because what did they say? He pretty much said, like, we're putting everything you need out there to make it competitive. We're going to let the community do with it what they will, was pretty much the gist of it, right?
Right.
And that's the closest they've ever come to that.
Of course. Like, so many of those guys on that Crucible team have competitive backgrounds, whether it was as players or as developers at other studios. Like, this is their wheelhouse. They love this stuff. They're always lurking in like the tournament streams and tweeting stuff out, during the GuardianCon tournament, and how exciting that was and how proud they were. Like, they're definitely supportive of it, and I know it's something that they want. So Again, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and hopefully it is sooner rather than later. Because look, all you need really for a game to be, quote unquote, an esport or a successful competitive title is like all you need is just a huge community, and Destiny absolutely has a huge community.
Yeah.
And they've demonstrated how much that they want this experience for the game. And again, it's just going to catapult even more with Destiny 2, and I think we'll see a lot of cool developments.
All right, we got a kind of a two-parter here because he asked one part of it, and I thought it was a really neat question, so he asked a second part. It's a really broad question. This is a really easy question to cop out or to really go deep. But David Mitchell on Twitter asks, your best guess, and I guess this is for everybody, 3 years from now, Destiny 2 is considered to be the blank, ? And I was like, oh, that's a cool question. And he said he specifically wanted to hear how Triple answered that, and then also, after 3 years, you consider Destiny 1 to be blank. Like I said, we can make that a really cop-out answer. You can go really deep, but I thought it was an interesting question.
That is a good question. All right, I'm going to think about this. You other guys go first.
Yeah.
I asked it. I'm going next to last.
Say the first part again, Hove.
Basically, it's in after 3 years, you would consider. Wait, that's the second part. Yeah. 3 years from now, Destiny 2 is considered to be blank.
Okay.
As opposed to now, 3 years later, Destiny 1 is blank.
Yeah, for me, I feel like it would be Destiny 2 is considered like the completion of what Destiny 1 was like starting. Like, and I view Destiny 1 as the starting point. That's what I hope. I feel like I'm gonna see like Destiny 2 as like the final. Not
I hope it's not the final.
Not how the people joke around about like, oh well, this was the beta and Destiny 2 is the real game. Not like that, but like this was the beginning of their idea, and this is like that idea coming to like more full fruition, and hopefully not the end, like you said, but that's kind of how I see it.
I'm still going next to last.
I'm gonna go off of what like you said, is like Destiny. What? How do you word it again? How was the first?
I mean, pretty
part
much just. I guess it's like, just going to be what do you
Destiny
think you're going to think of
2
Destiny
in 3 years? Will be considered kind of what Lego kind of just answered it.
Hopefully, Empire Strikes Back is Destiny 2. That's what I'm saying.
It was the beginning of the story they wanted to unfold.
So are we going to get?
And D1 was kind of like them stepping in the pool to test the waters type deal. I don't want to be too aggressive and say it was the beta or something. Yeah, D1's considered the beta, but that's kind of what I was thinking.
Does that mean we're going to have Ewoks in Destiny 3?
Oh, better.
That'd be awesome. I'd love it.
No,
those are the NPCs they talked about.
Greatest crossover ever.
Yes.
Speaking of, I just want to comment real quick on that, your beta comment, Mana, because that's something that when we were talking about Destiny 2 being a fresh start, you always see people with the joke that Destiny 1 was the beta. I mean, for the last most of the 3 years.
Oh yeah.
And while
I don't know what I see more. People saying that Destiny 1 was a beta, or Destiny 2 is the exact same game as Destiny 1.
Oh, I hate that
comment
so much, honestly.
Literally, that was all my, not like my community, but just like new people watching like the beta. It's just like, come on, like, do you do this for like Final Fantasy and Pokemon and every sport game ever released? Like Halo, like Halo 2 didn't even change that much over Halo 1. Come on.
That's exactly what I say to people. I'm just like, okay, it's a sequel. How much do you want changed?
You still want the game to be the same.
You're going to tweak the graphics or something, maybe tweak the movements. You'll add more content. Boom, that's what you call it.
Are we changing genres? Is Destiny like going to become fully a Sparrow racing only game now, or like what is that?
We could only
want it to look like Call of Duty or something.
Oh yeah, people. This game looks like Overwatch. This game looks like Counter-Strike. Like, literally, stop. You're like, some people actually were trolling, but there are just people out there.
There are people that actually are serious about this.
I can't help these people. They're just lost, and I pity them.
Queue up, and you're lost. It's like just end it there, and it's like, I'm going to stop talking to you before I actually rage.
Yeah.
Triton?
I guess I'm hopeful that in 3 years we can kind of look back and think that Destiny 2 was one of the games that kind of helped usher in a time where esports and maybe more competitive gaming or just gaming in general was maybe more mainstream. And I'll go with accepted, although I think just maybe from an exposure standpoint, and I think maybe Destiny 1 will look back and think that it was just the vehicle or platform that kind of got us there.
I don't really know anything you just said.
Okay.
Is it just because it just went over your head, Hove? Is that what you're saying?
Kind of.
What about you, Hove? Come on.
This one, I don't really know how to phrase this, but since Destiny came out, and as we've talked about, it was kind of its own thing. It was so many different types of games put together, and now you see some other games, while not copying it exactly, are trying to do that same thing. Even starting with the Division. What's the one they showed at E3? Anthem.
Yeah, Anthem.
Some of these games, I'd like to say that in 3 years, Destiny 2, or just Destiny as a franchise, has kind of solidified itself as like the leader of that new, like the forerunner, the front runner of this type of game with all these mishmashed looter shooter RPG MMO that they kind of. There's a lot of they're like the iPhone. I hate iPhones, but they're like the iPhone. Like everyone's trying to do it, but they're just always like a step behind, and they're kind of the ones that are leading it and have a game that everyone's happy about, and not a beta.
The grandfather of the genre of all this mashup is pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah, because they could, other games could get it right, not get it right. I think Destiny's gotten a lot right, but could kind of take off, and I'd like to say that they're still the ones that are kind of leading it.
Well, good job, Hope, because that's more or less what I said. So.
Is it really?
Wait, is it TripleWRECK now?
I was reading chat and I just didn't hear you.
Well, I think I'm going to echo what kind of all of you have said. I hope that in 3 years, Destiny 2 will have accomplished a few things. One, it'll kind of solidify itself as not just a commercially successful game, but like a universally kind of accepted game and appreciated, because I get the sense just from just being on the internet as long as I have, that like people that don't play Destiny or don't know Destiny dislike Destiny because of negative things that they heard, especially when Destiny 1 first launched, because admittedly it was a rocky launch. And whereas with other series and games, you don't really have that. Like most people have appreciation for Zelda. I've never played Zelda. I've actually never played a Zelda game. And I'm
Thank
probably
you.
gonna be burnt.
Shame.
Oh man,
Yes.
Lego's gonna end
Good
the
thing
show.
Hovey's not here.
Yeah, we've had Hovey on the podcast twice, and both times that came up, and he just said, "Well, you're a bad person," and just moved on with the conversation.
I am a
Thank
bad
you.
person, and
I
it's on
agree
my
with that.
list. It's on my list.
I've
But
never played them.
I've watched people play Zelda. Like I think I was over at my friend's house and he was playing Ocarina of Time on the N64 way back then. I mean, okay, I played little Zelda, but it's not like a series that I'm super invested in. But I know about the game and I like the game. I like what I know is good. I just feel like Destiny 1 has a negative stigma associated with it. I think Destiny 2 has an opportunity to kind of erase that to some degree. And I think that it also has an opportunity to really pioneer a game that is complete in terms of the type of experience that it offers that other games don't. Having a PvE side, a PvP side, and then hopefully a competitive side, right? And like hitting those huge main pillars in ways that, Division is mostly a PvE game. Like the PvP stuff really isn't that meaty. And then you have a lot of like other games like Warframe, which is mostly like just like co-op, right? And then I think Destiny's already changed the gaming landscape in that it has come up with a new combination of genres that you hadn't seen before previously. And then we did see things that were like Division and now like Anthem and games that are starting to come along the lines, which are starting to see how they can adapt that experience for their own. So looking back to Destiny 1, I'm guessing, even now, but probably more so in the future, that we'll just see that it was a highly ambitious risk for Bungie. And while it did deserve a lot of the criticisms, that Destiny 2 was made better because of that, and it still ended up being a great game for the people that that stuck with it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, podcast boss. We have time for a couple quick ones, real fast.
Let's just do if you go real quick. Otherwise, let's just do like one more.
Hove goes real
I'll
quick.
go real
It's
quick.
insane.
Okay, there was one in Discord. Big Tater Tot asks, question for everybody: last meal ever, what would it be?
Oh boy.
My
This
gosh.
isn't a quick one.
Just pick something.
That's a harsh one, man.
Right now, you have to answer now, or you don't
taco.
have to eat. I was gonna say tacos. Damn it.
Curly fries.
Just
Just
curly
because
fries?
we were talking
You could
about
have like a burger and curly fries. I feel like.
Yeah, super burger
Oh,
and fries.
okay.
I'm gonna go super burger fries.
Then Wendy's Asiago burger, but with a Arby's curly fries.
High class, man. High class.
Oh, man, is the one keeping that Asiago burger on the menu. I see.
You know what? I love my steak. I'm gonna have to go with a steak, a nice medium rare ribeye.
Ooh.
Yep.
Speaking of that, when you said steak in Tampa, did you guys make it to Charlie's?
Charlie's.
We did. That was
Nice.
an experience. Let me tell you, that is the biggest steak I've ever seen, let alone attempted to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, it was like as big as my head. Like I didn't know they made steaks that big.
Dude,
Yeah.
next time we go, we need to make sure that Resolute and I Am gets like the tables next to each other in the big room, because
that
I think
one room.
we scared away all the waitresses, so it would be good to just have everybody.
I think we scared away all the people sitting there as well.
Yeah, we were the people there.
We were
But
obnoxious, and they
truth is,
excluded us.
I was so hungry that day that I actually did eat the entire thing somehow. And Dado, same thing. Like we're not big guys. We're like 130, 140 pounds, pretty scrawny. But we ate more of that steak than a lot of those people out there. We outdid them. That's on them. That's for shame. Like
shame.
that is like that's a badge of honor that we proudly wear.
I strategically chose not to eat all mine just so I can have a tier 1 breakfast. Just saying.
All right, there you go.
Steak for breakfasting there when he's.
It wasn't bad. Yeah, not a bad idea.
Also, because you ate the entire order of alligator.
This is true.
Which
I
is
mean,
weird, but
you're pressuring me to eat alligator just because I'm the manigator. I'm pretty sure if
Oh,
I
in
didn't,
kind.
Yeah.
I feel like if I didn't, then
You could have been
everyone around me they were going to judge me if I didn't, man.
I'm pretty sure he yelled out "Sorry, brothers" before he took his first bite.
Oh man.
All right. Well, I don't think there's any more quick, easy questions. So if I didn't get to them, I'm sorry. We had a lot to talk about, but
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, luckily there's not that much Destiny news coming out this week. Other than the TWAB, there was two different things: the PC trailer that came out this week, and then also a few comments from the Edge magazine article that talked about just some random facts, mainly about PvE. But first off, the PC trailer, for me, it just basically showed like the beauty of it on PC in, ridiculous frame rates that we don't see, in D1 right now, or even in the beta. Did you guys see anything else about that trailer to get you hyped at all for trying out the beta on PC?
I was already going to.
Yeah, I don't feel like it really showed anything new, really.
No. I'm
Yeah,
apparently.
it's more just like a reminder that hey,
Yeah.
this is happening, and get excited. And I was like, yes, I'm already excited. I'm ready. Like, just give it to me now.
Right now.
I need all of it immediately.
Yeah, apparently I became a PC gamer at some point since PUBG came out, so I'm definitely.
Hey,
I got it pre-ordered.
It's I don't say don't limit yourself to any one platform, but if you get the choice, it's tough to turn down the PC, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
I'm just really bad at it.
Yeah, well, I think that it's actually easier to go from console to PC than vice versa because you're actually you don't. I think that at least okay, maybe this is a bad example, but my dad's a pretty solid PC gamer, and when he tries to play on a controller, he's like. He has the IQ of like 7. Like he literally he does not know how to move and aim at the same time. It's just like his brain won't let him do it, even though he's fine with like using the keyboard and the mouse and left and right hand. It's just a mental block, and it's so funny to watch him play. But
I swear that was me though. going to PUBG after playing just maining console for like I don't know how many years though. It was
But yeah, exactly. It's like the mouse I just think is like at a base level is more natural because you're moving like it's a one-to-one movement, the cursor and your mouse, instead of like holding down analog sticks and trying to fight aim assist and all these things. So I think like just keep at it, because like I have so many friends that have, you know, recently gone from console to PC, like not really ever playing PC games before. And if you just stick at it, because like I think it'll click for you at one point, and like you'll start to like notice big jumps of like just how comfortable you are, and before you know it, man, you could be a pro.
Yeah.
Well, let's not push
Oh
it.
man, Ho feels so good right now.
No, I mean,
there's hope for us, guys.
you definitely noticed the big jumps. I mean, when I started, it was like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Then it got to the point where if I could plan out what I was going to do, I could do it. But if someone like surprised me, and I'm just referring to just PUBG specifically, I was completely screwed. And now like I'm kind of getting the hang of like I can actually like move and aim at the same time. Like
you're basically like you're like retraining your brain though, and so like you get so used to doing
it's
one
like driving
thing
with your left foot.
Oh, exactly. I know that like when I got a scuff controller for the very first time and never like used paddles or anything, that I was angry because it took me so long. I just could not force myself. I was like, no, I stop, you know, using your thumb to press jump, you know, have to hit the paddle. And it took me so long just to like force myself to like rewire, you know, how I was playing. So I think to some degree it is the same when you're switching, you know, maybe more, maybe less, but yeah, no, I hear you. Just stick at it, man. You'll be fine.
Well, speaking of the whole console PC thing, just real quick, am I correct in remembering I've seen you say that you know, you're going to start out on console because it's out first, but you'll main PC pretty much after that?
I think that is the plan, barring any like, you know, catastrophic issues with the PC version or whatever.
Yeah.
I played it twice now. So I played the reveal event, I played the PvP, and then I played that mission, you know, the story mission at E3, and it's just so good. It just I'm not gonna say it was, you know, Destiny was designed as a PC game, but it just plays differently and such a fluid, and it's, you know, it's a combination of the frame rate and, you know, the mouse. It's like a different game to me. It's
That's so encouraging though. Like even as someone who's not going to move to main PC, it's really encouraging to hear that for all the new people that are going to try it from the PC community for the first time, for them to just try this game that feels so smooth and polished, like you were saying.
Right.
So I'm excited for them.
And if you stay on console, like, look, 30 FPS, it's only like, I would say especially bad when you are regularly going back and forth between higher frame rate games and 30. When you're just playing in 30, you're just playing Destiny, like, I don't really notice it. It's never been my biggest complaint of Destiny 1. This game isn't 60 FPS, it's trash. No, it's been more like, yeah, I don't like this gun, or, you know, the lag or something, right?
Trying to explain that too to people, and it's just like, while playing on a 30 frame game like constantly, you're not going to complain about it. But when you come from like, oh, what was some of the games that we've been playing back and forth between, I can't even think of them, that 60 frame, then jumping back on like Fridays, and it's just like,
oh my eyes. They're bleeding.
I can definitely tell.
Yeah, it's 100%. And I think that, you know, a lot of people are gonna maybe come to PC when they didn't think they were in the first place, or over time. I think that Bungie has an opportunity to do like a one-time transfer of your character as a thing, like $10, like hypothetically, pay $10 and you can migrate consoles or something. You know, I think that that's maybe an option in the future, because I get it. Like, people that came from Xbox to PS4 with Destiny 1, it's rough leaving all your gear, especially things you can't get anymore. And I think that's like one of the biggest barriers that prevents people from going between platforms. Like, if we're up to me, like if it was, you know, if there weren't any legal or, you know, business issues that got in the way, I would love for, you know, Destiny to just be a single unified account that you can play on any platform, right? Like that would be the dream. And then guess what? That means I'm going to buy 3 versions of the game. I'm going to give you more money in the end. Like, come on. Instead of, and I feel like I'm going to play the console version for like the month and a half, and then PC is going to come out, and I'm just going to be so in love with the PC version that I'll want to come back and play on console, but I feel like Destiny 2 is probably going to have an actual deeper grind to it. So I think it'll be really hard for some people to keep up playing on multiple platforms, let alone multiple characters on the same platform. I mean, who knows? We really don't know a lot of those details. I think people might just, borrow accounts, which, is also fine.
Yeah, and it's sounding more and more like even the story grind, let alone the progression grind, is going to be pretty long with the way that the Edge article talked about.
Like 50 missions or something.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
And they had to like make more progression system just
too
to
much
fit
content.
the amount of content that they had, which
That's
is
what I want to hear.
Yeah,
I think it was
too much content, too much story.
I think it was 50 cutscenes and 80 missions. Wasn't it 80 missions?
80,
I think that
yeah.
includes
Yeah,
strikes, missions. I think that includes everything.
Yeah, including other PvE like activities. Yeah,
that's still insane.
I'll say, right off the bat, the story mission that we got, Homecoming, like that's like the best story mission we've ever had.
For real.
Like D1, that's what I was saying too. I'm like that mission was action packed. You got the NPCs jumping in with you and doing things that they were just sitting there bossing you around all throughout D1. And they
Listen,
got
I had to revive Zavala, all right?
Yeah.
He died. I revived him. But I don't think that's going to be, at least I hope that's not going to be the full mission though. Because
Zavala killed me.
Zavala killed you? Well, you must have been
that bubble.
Shit in the bed.
I popped the bubble and I was outside of it. I got blown up. I didn't.
Because one of my nitpicky things is still, why did we just show up with these brand new subclasses? Where did they come from?
I still think so many people are saying that it's going to start.
That's what I mean.
With the
I'm hoping
OG
there's something else
subclasses.
before that, but I'll be kind of pissed.
I'm sure that they'll actually, the interesting thing is that the version that we played at the reveal event in E3 was different than the one we got in the beta, because it's more of a complete beginning in the beta version. So I'm sure that there'll probably be some more changes for the final release there. Plus, we've seen like in trailers where like your Guardians like basically like hobbling along. It looks like they don't have any powers or anything. So I'm sure that they're gonna have some surprises there. I'm just glad that they're keeping so many secrets. Like part of me is like I want to know everything, but at the same time it's like I want to be surprised. I want to enjoy and savor that first time through, just like the raid, right? I don't want to watch someone else do the raid before I play it. So
absolutely. Well, one last thing here before we take off, just going over the TWAB real quick. There wasn't much in there at all. They just talked about the events, Gamescom and PAX, and how at Gamescom, they were saying there's something new for us there too, even though they said, they're expecting to introduce a lot of new people to Destiny. That there's also going to be something new for us that are waiting for new content, because there's like we're like, please, but at the same time we're like, no, don't show us, we like this. So hopefully it's not too much, but
I'm sure it'll probably be like a map or something.
That's what I was
maybe like
gonna
a
say.
strike or
here's a glimpse at the PC map that we're gonna play.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, even better.
So then the other thing was the Destiny app getting updated soon. And so it looked like they were introducing some new features, at least some new buttons to get you to some different features, like the Explore feature. And then there was also clan features, which is what I think is going to be probably the biggest change. It seemed like, I don't know, like with all the new clan changes they're making to BNet, we haven't got to see what that all looks like yet. But I'd imagine that is going to be one of the biggest changes of the companion app. I guess we'll, just have to kind of wait and see for all of that.
Right. I mean, the whole expanded clan group guided games, aspect, I think is one of going to be the best things that they do with this game, because I was sorely missing with Destiny 1. I guess we had things like LFG and things that were trying to fulfill that, but without it being in the game, you were still losing out on so many people that are just they're not thinking about that. They're not going to know about it, and it's going to turn them off. So you got to have that in the game in some capacity. I think it's going to be great. I do think. Let's see. You mentioned PC, or you mentioned Gamescom. I think that them revealing something there, probably not too major, but you got to remember that PAX is coming up, and then they're having this big event at PAX, right? It's not. I mean, they're going to be at PAX, but they're also they're renting out a theater, and they're going to have kind of like their own convention, like their own Destiny Con,
Yeah.
Con thing. So that's really exciting because it's like the first time they've ever done that. I know they have things planned. I don't know exactly what, but I think we're going to get a bunch of announcements there as well. Maybe we'll see that roadmap for what Destiny 2 content
we got a
stuff is
roadmap.
coming. Like,
That'd be
Fingers
sweet.
crossed.
I think they're going to have some kind of like, maybe press conference type presentation there. Maybe it'll be streamed. I have no idea.
Would be
so
awesome.
I think like the potential for that is going to be really excited because it's literally like the same week that the game releases. So that's like their big kickoff, and they're gonna want to get people as excited as possible. So
yeah. Well, with the game releasing, that's the last thing there is they announced the preloading next week for Xbox and August 31st for a PS4. So we finally have dates for when you can get your consoles ready.
Yeah. And the other thing, I don't know, you guys probably talked about this, but I'm curious your opinions on the whole rolling launch.
Oh,
Has that been confirmed?
Yeah.
It has?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that a lot of people have discussed how, especially for trying to get to that max level, that race, and then being prepared for the raid, like those two things are like the biggest things that are like, man, these people are going to have a huge head start of the people who get it first over everyone else. And I don't know. Like, I'm just curious to see how it's going to work. I'm like worried about that head start, but hopefully, like, I still have my fingers crossed that the raid won't be released too soon.
Yeah.
And so it kind of depends on that for me, but it does suck for those going for world's first, like, highest rank, highest light level.
My thought on those 2 points specifically is I don't think that hitting like max light or max level or whatever is nearly as big of a thing as it was, or shouldn't be as big of a thing as it was in Destiny 1, because you remember hitting level 30 was like damn near impossible for months because you couldn't get the boots or whatever from the raid. Was it boots?
My friend deleted those boots because he didn't know that
Oh, no.
those got him to 30. And I just
Poor guy.
couldn't believe it.
So that I don't see that being a big deal. As far as the raid, that would all depend to me on when the raid drops. If it's going to drop like that Friday, which I pray to God it's not, then yeah, I think that's a big deal because I think it's like, almost a whole day, right, for somebody.
Yeah, like we're not going to be max level within like 3 days. So I think with Destiny 1 when it launched, Vault of Glass came a week after. I think it came like exactly 1 week after. So that seems like a good stretch of time, because I don't think it's going to matter as much people that maybe get an early copy or whatever. But it's going to be annoying because many hours before we get to play, there's going to be streams and videos and news, and I really I don't want to be spoiled about anything.
Yes.
That's I don't really care so much about other people getting a head start as much as just like I want a pure experience. So
Rally brought that up in
behind
chat too. He was like, it's going to be tempting not to watch people's streams. Like for the average player, everybody's going to just want to watch whoever has it.
Yeah.
Logistically, I get it.
I just inadvertently called Rally a average player. Sorry, Rally.
That would be average would be a compliment for him. I don't remember what I was going to say. It doesn't matter. Technically, logistically, I get it. As far as from Bungie's side, but it does have the potential to kind of suck for the consumer side. But what are you going to do, I guess?
Yeah.
As long as it works, when I try to play it, as long as I can play it, I'll be pretty happy at that point.
Right.
Triton, man, do y'all have any thoughts?
Well, considering that I'll still have a broken wrist, no, not really. I won't be able to play anyways. So.
Really? You have a broken wrist?
Yeah. No, I have
you played too much PUBG like I did?
No, not a lot of PUBG. I have tendonitis. I have to get surgery on next Friday, and then I'll be out for like 2 weeks, which will take me to the 9th, I think.
That sucks, man.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm just floating here.
And
I'm
that,
there, but
folks,
I'm actually
is why we
starving
brought
right
Man
now
on.
because I haven't gotten food.
I had surgery on my right wrist. It was a sports injury, and so I had the cast on for like weeks and weeks and weeks. But I still managed to play on PC. I basically just clawed the mouse. I know that's a style. I mean, that's not how I normally hold. But I was like, I'm not going to be held back by this. I have to play my Counter-Strike. And what I did, because you can like spray an image in the game, like it's like, you know, like a taunt basically. And I just took a picture of my hand on the mouse with a cast, and I would just spray that on people's body. So I was a bit of a BMer back in the day. But
that's awesome.
I don't know if you'll be. I mean, I don't know your injury and whatever, but I mean, maybe there'll be a way for you to still play. If not, it's only like a day, so
I'm hopeful.
okay.
It's like right in. It's like where I don't know that there's like a technical term for it, but I actually can't use my thumb as the bigger part of it. So like it's the tendons that run like right down the top of your thumb. So I can't.
I was always convinced you
games.
didn't have any thumbs anyway.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, so
There's
what
so
you
much
get?
tension between you two.
Hey, you get.
I know,
get a
we really
Zim,
haven't slept
get
together
a
for
Zim,
like a
and then
week.
you can use a mouse, and there
you go. You got a mouse, yeah.
I guess I could try that.
There you go. All right. Well, Triple, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us.
I
We
do have one
really
quick
appreciate it.
question.
And Hove has something.
It was in chat, and I was curious. The whole, you know, as a streamer and everything, with the, you know, restrictions on OBS and game capture and all that stuff. What's your thoughts on that? I've seen, you know, it's all over the place, but is it a big deal, do you think, or is it just kind of?
It's an annoyance more than anything. I know it's being done for security purposes, so with that in mind, I have no problem with it.
Right.
You know, security comes first, especially like with a PC game, and you'll still be able to use like a window capture or display capture, or you could even run a single capture card and basically run the output of your video card into the capture card on one system, and that's like kind of another way that you could do it. I think either of those two are going to be fine for 99% of people, and it's not really going to impact too heavily. But you know, there's also going to be people out there with dual streaming rigs, which obviously they're not going to be affected at all.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue in the end.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I guess we're coming to a close at the end of REZOcast episode 37. Again, Triple, thank you so much for coming out. It's been awesome having you here, hearing your thoughts on D2 and just your origins within the community and everything. Thank you so much, man.
No, thanks for having me. This was really fun, and we will definitely do it again. Maybe like a post-launch cast or something. Yeah, I'm always down. Absolutely.
For sure. Well, this has been Lego Le Flash, aka Lego. You can find me at Lego LE Flash on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Hove, where can they find you?
Sorry, I was reading about nudes in chat.
Because the casual sex and now down to the nudes.
Now there's bags of dicks being, I don't know.
Oh no.
Fine, same places, Twitter, Twitch, sort of. I pretend to have a YouTube. All Hove 76, HOV 76. Triton.
Hold on, I'm tweeting your Pornhub
God.
name. Anyways, you can find me all the same places. Triton, please. The please being PLZ. And how about you, Mana?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, maybe even the YouTube sometimes at the Manigator, the dash Manigator. I don't know which goes to what, but you type something in, you'll probably find me somewhere.
And Triple, where can everybody find you?
I'm just TripleWRECK on everything, so just good luck. You know, you might find MySpace, Friendster. I mean, who knows? It may not all be me.
MySpace.
He's got his own solo record out on MySpace. I'll check it out.
I was there's like a business thing, and someone needed to use Skype, which I haven't used in so long. And so I opened up my Skype and I was like, oh, yeah, you know, like here's my name, like add me. And they're like, oh, there's like 176 TripleWRECKs. I was like, sorry. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Don't add me on Skype. So.
Well, you can also find REZOcast on Twitter at REZOcast. You can wherever you're listening to this podcast, we're also on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube. Find us at all those places. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave us a review anywhere there. Hove, where can they find more about Resolute?
Quickly, I do have one more question from chat that I feel is important. Gungasaur would like to know if Triple is on Tinder.
I am currently single, and I've heard mixed opinions on the old Tinder. Not as of today, but that could change. You never know. Looking for the Mrs. TripleWRECK.
There you
go. What was I supposed to talk about? Resolute. Oh,
yeah.
On Twitter at Team Resolute, and I know I mention it all the time, but Monk just came in the chat and told me teamresolute.com. The website is done. It's been done for weeks apparently, and it'll be live soon. Which I have been saying for 3 months, but soon.
You have been saying that for a while.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on the stream, and if you're listening on iTunes, thank you so much. This has been an episode 37 of 47
47
of REZOcast. Thanks so much, guys, and until next time, GG.
GG.
Have a great day or night.